Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call. I welcome all of you to the call. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your time and association for all of us. And today we are continuing the Srimad Bhagavatam series of first canto, 11th chapter, verse number 9.
No, we're going to be doing something else.
Yes, good Maharaj.
Today is I think the appearance of Gadadhara Pandit.
Okay.
And so you can go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-lila, chapter 10, verse 15.
Chapter 10, verse number 15. Maharaj?
Correct.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj, I'm sharing. Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vindam Bharasankha Gadadhara Pandita Goswami Heno Lakshmi Rupatana Samake Hanai. Translation: Gadadhara Pandit, the fourth branch, is described as an incarnation of the pleasure potency of Sri Krishna. No one, therefore, can equal him. Purport: in the Godadesh Deepika 147 to 153, it is stated Sri Krishna's pleasure potency, formerly known as Vrindavaneshwari, is now personified in the form of Gadadhara Pandit in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Rupa Damodar Goswami has pointed out that in the shape of Lakshmi, the pleasure potency of Krishna, he was formerly very dear to the Lord as Shyamasundar Vallabha. The same Shyamasundar Vallabha is now present in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes as Gadadhara Pandit. Formerly as Lalita Saki, he was always devoted to Srimati Radharani. Thus, Gadadhara Pandit is simultaneously an incarnation of Srimati Radharani and Lalita Saki. In the 12th chapter of this part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a description of the descendants or disciplic succession of Gadadhara Pandit. Umagyan Timirandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Ramine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Panchatattva, Shikam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam, Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam, Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So that Bhakta Shakti is Gadadhara Pandit. And he is actually, as it's mentioned in this particular verse here, he is a manifestation of of Radharani and Lalita Shakti in one personality. Gadadhara Pandit is he is the internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he appeared to assist Lord Chaitanya as Srimati Radharani appears to assist Lord Krishna in his pastimes. I need 1 minute here to do one little small thing that's not happening. There are many wonderful pastimes. Gadadhara Pandit's appearance is just before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they're almost the same age, of course. Can you hear me?
Yes, good Maharaj, we can hear you.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm just having some problem. My computer is not working today properly. I can't see what is wrong here either.
Maharaj, are you able to see the screen?
I'm on another,
Okay.
something's happening to my computer here and it's going crazy. It's just jumping around. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to work here. Let's see. Give me a second here and I'll be right with you.
Yes, Maharaj.
Starting to behave a little bit now. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I think. Okay. Somehow or other, it's one of those days. His father's name was Madhavan Mishra. His mother was Ratnavati. He had a brother also who was a great personality named Vanina Mishra. He was very close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even from the beginning of their manifestation in their pastimes. Even in the early youth, they became students together. Unlike Radharani in her mood with Krishna and Sri Vrindavan, this same Radharani, as she appears in this particular Leela, is a little bit different in mood. You sometimes see as contrary to Krishna in the Vrindavan pastimes, but in this particular manifestation as Gadadhara, he's very obedient to the Lord, very peaceful, respectful, exhibits a mood of complete renunciation, and he loves to chant and read Srimad Bhagavatam. One time, Gadadhara Pandit was walking along the street, and Lord Chaitanya, who was Nimai Pandit at that time, came up to him and said, "What is the meaning of liberation?" And Gadadhara Pandit gave a very nice explanation, and the Lord argued with him and defeated him in so many ways. This was Nimai Pandit's mood. He would always present the opposite of whatever you said. And because he was so expert in word jugglery and in presenting philosophical teachings from all angles of vision, no one could defeat him. Of course, this was prior before he actually became initiated by Ishwara Puri that he changed. He was exhibiting a certain mood. Srila Ishwara Puri, Gadadhara also trained under Ishwara Puri too. They both had the same spiritual master. And it says that Gadadhara was his favorite student. There's a beautiful pastime in the house of Gopinath Acharya when after Lord Chaitanya took initiation for Gadadhara from Ishwara Puri, he was a changed person. He came back, and before he was always in a mood of arguing from the position of logic, grammar, Nayak, and various other principles. But now he became very peaceful, and Gadadhar Pandit was really happy about that. And so there was a beautiful pastime where in the house of Gopinath Acharya, kirtan was going on, and Lord Chaitanya and Gadadhar Pandit danced very sweetly together. This is nicely described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Their love for each other was very deep. Gadadhar Pandit, he loved to study scriptures, and he also studied the Krishna Lilamrita. Every day, as part of his puja, he would offer flowers, and he would always be looking for the opportunity to associate with Gadadhar Pandit. Lord Chaitanya and Gadadhar Pandit sometimes together would go to the home of the Advaitacharya. And one time, Gadadhar Pandit said to Gadadhar Advaitacharya that indicating that Nimai Pandit was just a boy. But Advaitacharya was in full knowledge of the position of Lord Chaitanya, and he said, how long will you go on thinking he is a mere child? And that enlightened Gadadhar. One time, Lord Chaitanya was in a very deep mood of love for Krishna, and he heard that it was also said that Krishna and Radharani were situated in his heart. So Lord Chaitanya, just similar exactly to the mood of Hanuman, when Hanuman heard that Ram and Sita were sitting in his heart, he ripped open his chest to see. The Lord Chaitanya followed in that mood, and he started to try to rip open his chest. Gadadhar Pandit became alarmed and grabbed his arms, and somehow or other became very, very able to slow down and actually stop Lord Chaitanya from ripping open his chest because he was so much in the mood. When Sachi Mata saw that, she was thinking, my God, Gadadhar has great influence over my son, though therefore he should never leave him. And she told that to Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit danced during the march on the Chamkazi. Gadadhar, bewildered, he was wondering, Mukunda sings the glories of the Lord. This is a beautiful pastime where a very powerful personality appeared in an area of Navadvip. His name was Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And he was apparently, from the external point of view, quite materialistic looking. He would dress in very fancy clothes. He would wear many kinds of different angas and ointments and perfumes. He would put all of these perfumes, some of them in his hair. He would chew betel nut and smile. He looked like a gross materialist. No one could recognize the greatness of this personality. But Lord Chaitanya When he came to Navadvip, Lord Chaitanya said, "Oh, Father, Father, Father," because Pundarik Vidyanidhi was actually a manifestation of Vishabhanu, Radharani's actual father in Vrindavan. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamame Hari Priye. She was the daughter of this great king called Vishabhanu, who had a wife named Kirtida, and together Radharani appeared in their family as their beloved daughter. So Lord Chaitanya wanted to give some guidance to Gadadhara. So he told Gadadhara, Mukunda, go with Mukunda. Mukunda will take you to meet a very wonderful personality. You'll be very happy to meet him. So they went, and when they were there, of course, they were greeted. This was the house where Pundarik Vidyanidhi was staying, which was quite opulent. It was almost like a small palace. He had servants. He had nice decorations all over his house, bedsteads, pots, flowers, draperies, beautiful rugs. He was very, very in the mood of Vaikuntha. And when Gadadhara saw that, he was thinking, and then he saw the appearance of, who is this person? If Lord Chaitanya has asked me to come and learn from him, but he looked like a gross materialist. And then something happened, and I'll read to you what happened. Was Mukunda could understand the mind of Gadadhar Pandit. And so he wanted to help him understand the actual position of his personality, because he knew that actually he was a great soul. But he appeared in a way that no one could see him that way. Appeared as an ordinary personality, maybe even a gross materialist. And therefore, Mukunda chanted a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I'll chant the verse. Aho Bhakiyam Snanakala Kutam Jigyasaya Bhavayad Api Aswadi Lebe Gatam Datra Uchitam Tatonyam Samvadalalum Saranam Brajema. Translation is, alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So he cited that verse. And when Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard that verse chanted beautifully by Mukunda, he went into ecstasy, thinking how merciful the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. As a little baby, this witch took the form of a beautiful lady to deceive him, smeared some deadly, very deadly poison on her breast and came to offer it to Krishna, simply to kill him. That was her only desire. But Krishna saw her differently as his mother. And so he sucked out her life by sucking out the poison, and she died. And it's described in this Srimad Bhagavatam in the beginning of the 10th canto, the killing of Putana, and how her whole body fell in different places all over Vrindavan. It was a monster. She was a monster. She assumed her original form as a horrible looking witch. But everybody was noticing that there was a beautiful fragrance that was coming from her body. And because her body was touched by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this fragrance was so aromatic that it perfumed the whole area of Vrindavan. And so after reciting this verse, Pundarik Vidyanidhi went mad, thinking how merciful Krishna has given this horrible witch who came to kill him almost on the same level as his mother Yasoda, liberation. So in his heart, he was thinking, how kind, how merciful is Krishna. And he went into ecstasy for 6 full hours. And in that ecstasy, he was tearing his very opulent and beautiful clothes. He was throwing the different items around in his room, smashing it. His assistants came to hold him down, but they couldn't. His ecstasy was so strong, they went flying in different directions. And he was just mad in love for God. And he was completely absorbed thinking like that. And that lasted for 6 full hours. Gadadhara was watching and he was thinking, oh my God, this person is such a great personality. I've committed offense in my mind thinking he was just an ordinary materialist. So Gadadhara was thinking, what should I do? And so he, after 6 hours, Pundarik Vidyanidhi came back to normal consciousness, and he was a little bit embarrassed to see what had happened. He wasn't even aware of what he did. This is the deep state of ecstasy where one loses all awareness of the external environment. And then Gadadhara told to Mukunda, I think I should accept initiation for Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And then he communicated that to Pundarik. And Pundarik was so happy. And he think, oh, it's such a great honor that I will have such a wonderful disciple. It's so rare to have such a wonderful disciple as Gadadhara Pandit. So it's interesting because King Vrishabhanu was the father of Radharani, and Gadadhara was Radharani. So father and daughter have again been reunited in this wonderful Leela. And when Gadadhara came back to Lord Chaitanya, he told him what happened, and Gadadhara was very happy. And the Lord was so happy that he danced with Gadadhara in a mood of ecstasy, creating the whole mood of Vrindavan. They had manifested their original forms also. Oh, there are many wonderful pastimes of Gadadhara Pandit. There's a story where there was a drama at the house of Chandrasekhar, and Lord Chaitanya played the part, or Gadadhara played the part of Rukmini, like that. And so they would also, this was very popular in Vaishnava culture, that they would also do dramatic performances. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada very much, in a very emphasizing way, wanted devotees to organize and participate in various types of dramatic displays of Krishna's Leela. He said this will bring the devotees very close together as a family, and will also be very inspiring for others to see Krishna's pastimes being acted out in this dramatic performance. So we should take note of that as devotees, that wherever you are, if you can initiate or even take part in dramatic performances. I remember when I was in Chicago, as a member of the temple, we would do that period of time, we would do these dramatic performances every week for the Sunday feast. And people would come just to see these performances. There are many other wonderful pastimes. Of course, Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. Gadadhara was very broken, thinking, oh my God, how will I get his association now? He is leaving me. And Lord Chaitanya's plan was to go to Jagannath Puri. But Gadadhara's heart was very broken, and he challenged Lord Chaitanya. Why are you taking sannyas? There's no need to. You have everything here. You have a beautiful wife. You have a mother who loves you so much that she cannot stop serving you. And everything is here. Lord Chaitanya knew that he had to go through this particular part of his lila in order to teach and spread his Krishna conscious movement, especially to the Mayavadis who would never listen to a Grihastha. That's why he accepted Mayavad sannyas. And there was other reasons. There was an internal reason also. So Gadadhara didn't want to be separated from Lord Chaitanya. So when Lord Chaitanya's mother, Sachimanta, requested him to reside in Jagannath Puri after he took sannyas, in order to please his mother, he accepted that. And Gadadhara came and joined Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. And when he came there, the Lord gave him a special deity called Tota Gopinath. His name was Yameshwara Tota. But around the temple where he was worshipped, there was a garden. So the deity was later known as Tota Gopinath. That deity is very, very special. You can see that deity even today. And we'll describe some of the pastimes like that. So there is one particular pastime where Lord Chaitanya wanted to go to Vrindavan while he was in Puri. And now Gadadhara Pandit had made a vow to accept Kshetra Sannyas. That means there's a kind of sannyas where you dedicate yourself to a particular holy place and you stay there the rest of your life. And you preach and you worship there. So he had done that and committed his life to worshiping the Gopinath, the beautiful deity, beautiful Krishna deity that was given to him by Lord Chaitanya. And when Lord Chaitanya decided to go to Vrindavan, Gadadhara wanted to go. And the Lord said, you can't go. You have made a vow to worship Gopinath. You can't leave Gopinath. And then Gadadhara Pandit said, well, actually, you're not different than Gopinath. So if I go with you, I'm still with Gopinath. The Lord Chaitanya was not so pleased. He was thinking, he said to Gadadhara, if you break your vow, then what will people think of me? What will people think of this vow of Kshetra Sannyas? They will not take it seriously. Do not set that example and stay here. But Gadadhara was so attached to the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he could not accept any instructions to stay. But Lord Chaitanya was like a thunderbolt. At one point, he just turned around and decided to leave. He went to the banks of the Mahanadi River. He got on a boat, and Gadadhara was still standing on the shore wanting to come. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was to be there at the time. And the Lord looked at Gadadhara
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I think Maharaj connection is, yeah. Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. You are on mute, Maharaj. Yes.
Yes, something happened. Yeah, this computer is just jumping around today, at its own mind. Let me come back to where I was in my narration here.
Lord Chaitanya was like a thunderbolt and he left Gadadhara.
Lord Chaitanya was like a thunderbolt and he left the Gadadhara.
We'll get it.
Okay.
Then now he's being pacified by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says he cannot bear your separation also, but he must teach the importance of upholding vows. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he was the Supreme Personality of God, he very seriously, exactly played the part of a devotee of the Lord. And therefore, he upheld his vows as a sannyasi, even though many times his disciples wanted to worship him differently and give him all kinds of nice gifts and treat him like a householder. Many times he would rebuke them and refuse to accept what they offered. And so he wanted to be very strict in following his principles of sannyas, and he also taught that to his disciples too, especially Gadadhara Pandit. And Lord Chaitanya started to travel. He went on his way to Vrindavan. He happened to stop at a place called Ramakeli on the way, and there Rupa and Sanatan Goswami arranged to meet the Lord, knowing he was coming. At that time, he gave him many instructions about the science of devotional service and also encouraged them in their service. At one point, he was about to leave, and Sanatan Goswami said, "You're traveling alone. This is not good. I don't think it's a very good time for you to go to Vrindavan. So you should return to Jagannath Puri." Lord Chaitanya listened, but then he continued on towards Vrindavan. At that point, after traveling on, a few minutes later, or maybe a little while longer, we don't know how long, but he started to think, I think Sanatan, what he's saying is right. It's not a good time to go. So the Lord went back towards Puri. On his way, he came to the place of Kanai Natashal, and he made the devotees very happy. It's said that Kanai Natashal is non-different than Vrindavan. Of course, just like when Krishna was in Vrindavan, there were many demons. Kanai Natashal, it was a place where a lot of dacoits would not live, but hang out and attack very many of the travelers. But Lord Chaitanya was not fazed by that. He came back to Puri. The devotees saw him. They were amazed. You're back so early. How is it? He said, I have committed offense to Gadadhara Pandit. Because I have, Krishna would not allow me to go to Vrindavan. So Lord Chaitanya, by saying that, was teaching us that we should not cause any discomfort to any devotee in any way at any time. Even if there's some disagreement, there should never be any discomfort caused by that disagreement. Therefore, he said that a devotee is free from causing any discomfort to any living entity, even the most insignificant living entity. Sometimes the devotee will step on an ant or kill a bug, and they'll feel so bad in their heart. Oh, Krishna, what did I do? Speak about the entities and other forms. We can see is that we live today. People don't know each other, know any living entities, killing cows.
Maharaj, your voice is breaking, Maharaj, and your video also froze. We lost you for 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Maharaj got disconnected. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Sorry, my computer is just acting really strange today.
Yes, Maharaj.
It just jumped up again for no reason. So there are many, many wonderful stories about the life of Gadadhara Pandit. We could go on for another hour or so, but I think we can stop and take questions. The intimacy between these two are very, very deep. And there are many other pastimes. When Lord Chaitanya left the planet, he merged into the body of Tota Gopinath just to show his love for Gadadhara Pandit, who was worshiping that deity as his own deity. And that deity was a very big deity. At one time, after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya, Gadadhara Pandit was so much in distress that he could not practically do his service properly anymore. So one day when he was trying to dress the Gopinath deity, who was a very big deity, he had a hard time putting the crown on Gopinath's head because his body was so wrecked with the effects of old age, because when Lord Chaitanya left, he was aging, it says, 1 year every day. He was preparing to actually leave the world and again join Lord Chaitanya in his eternal pastimes. But when he tried to put the crown on the deity this one time, he couldn't reach it. The deity was too high and he was too weak. And then Gopinath did something just to please Gadadhara Pandit. He sat down. The beautiful deity sat down, and you can see even today, deity is in a cross-legged position. A Krishna deity sitting in a cross-legged position holding a flute. Beautiful. He did that just to show his love for Gadadhara Pandit. And that deity you'll see there's a mark on the right leg of the deity just above the knee. In that mark, there is like a little, kind of like an incision or something. It says that this is where Lord Chaitanya disappeared. He merged himself into the body of this beautiful deity of Gopinath just to show his love for Gadadhara Pandit. Okay, these are some of the pastimes. It's a very special day, the appearance of Gadadhara Pandit.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much for such a wonderful pastimes of Srila Gadadhara Pandit. Thank you for narrating. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead. And please turn on your cameras, and it would be nice to see all of you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm still with you.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, go ahead and ask your questions.
Hare Krishna. Sukha Mataji, you have a question?
State.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
Sukha Mataji, you have a question? You unmuted yourself.
No, I don't know. Sorry, by mistake. I'm just trying to get back on.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Hare Krishna, anyways.
Yeah.
My humble obeisances to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees present. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So Maharaj, I have a question. Like you were saying that Gadadhara Pandit is also disciple of Ishwar Puri.
I think that's a mistake. Madhava Mishra, I have to look at it again.
Mm.
I think he is not a disciple of Ishwar Puri, no. But he is, no, he actually took initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. That, as we explained in that particular pastime.
Okay. Okay, Maharaj.
Yeah, there, that was written, but I don't know why I wrote it that way, but I think it's a mistake.
Mm.
I think he had a very intimate relationship with Ishwar Puri because of Ishwar Puri's relationship with Lord Chaitanya. But you'll see in the lives of these great souls that they accepted many great personalities as their mentors.
Mm.
Some were formerly as Diksha, and others were just considered to be their spiritual masters, although they weren't in the mood of Diksha.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Any questions, dear devotees? Sridevi Mataji has a question, Maharaj.
So, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Guru Maharaj, in this particular pastime where Gadadhar Pandit is saying to Lord Chaitanya, I want to go with you, and Lord Chaitanya forbids that, saying, no, you stay and you worship here. This is your place of Kshetra Sannyas. And then ultimately Lord Chaitanya just leaves and Gadadhar Pandit is broken-hearted. So when one is put into such a situation where one becomes really broken-hearted, how can one go on with this service? Because one knows that this is what the Lord wants, but the broken-heartedness might make it difficult. So how to overcome that and continue with this service? Because this is what Lord Chaitanya wanted.
Well, that's why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was there to pacify Gadadhar Pandit. And by doing that, he brought Gadadhar Pandit back, saying that, you know, he experiencing the same love for you that you are experiencing for him. For him to be separated from you is just as painful. But the Lord wanted to show that we should, if we make a vow in Krishna consciousness, such as chanting our rounds, following the four regular principles, we shouldn't take these things as simply optional. We should follow them under any and all conditions, even if it's difficult. So Lord Chaitanya didn't want to be given that, what we say, label of allowing someone to break their vows. And he was very strict in his own vows. Because yad yad avachar shrestha tat tat devi jirajana tad yat kurusham kuru lokasthala luvartante. Whatever a great man does, common men follow in his footsteps. And whatever things he sets by example, all the world pursues. So, and people always look that way, just like, people say, one time it said that Lord Ramachandra ate meat. Of course, we don't know any pastimes of that, but there are people who will read the Ramayana and say that there was an incident where Lord Ramachandra ate meat. So they think, oh, that's all right. Now we can do it because he did it. And they speak like that. But Prabhupada said he in Tejas Samaraja Sire, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can eat the whole world with the speak. But you can't. You have to follow his instructions. And if you break the principles, you suffer. He's above all of these things because he makes the principles. So Lord Chaitanya didn't want people to use that as a way to give up their vows. Would do that. As soon as a great person does something, people like to imitate it or say it becomes the standard.
So what was particularly helpful in this case was the presence of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to pacify, console, comfort, and give good counsel to Gadadhar Pandit.
Yeah, exactly. You need the association of devotees to help. Leave that other one on. Yeah, leave it there. Yeah. And bring this spoon you put there. Just put it there. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, we can only speculate. Gadadhar maybe would not be able to go on with his service. Apparently he needed someone to help him through that.
So Guru Maharaj, in our own situations, I mean, speaking personally, when we are going through difficulties or feeling weak or feeling, brokenhearted or helpless, we tend to isolate ourselves. We tend to go inward rather than outward or seeking association. We tend to say, no, I don't want to bother anyone with my problems, and I don't want to burden other people. I'll suffer, in silence, whatever it is, and try to face it and things like that. But actually, that's the time when we most need our God brothers, God sisters to help us through that storm or whatever it may be. So how can we reverse this tendency and actually reach out when our tendency is to go into a shell?
Just do it. That's all. What do you need? If you understand what's right and you can't do it, then what is the problem? That means that is called another problem, is that I know what's right, but I can't do it. I know it's beneficial, but I won't do it. It's called Hridaya Dulabhya, means weakness of heart. Just like Dhritarashtra knew that by supporting his sons who were avaricious, he knew it was wrong, but because he was attached, he could not do that. So we find sometimes the attachment becomes so strong that even we know what's right, we can't do it. We know the spiritual master says, follow the 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds. We know it's right. Still, we don't do it. That's called weakness of heart, which means strong material attachments. That's it.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances.
It's not an excuse. It's just a reality. That's it. Therefore, as this pastime explains, you need help. That's why it says every devotee should have another devotee who is senior to them. They can talk to. They can help them in their execution of Krishna consciousness. If you try to do it alone, you will fail.
Mm.
Guaranteed.
Mm.
Or you'll practically make no advancement. This organization, this movement, the spiritual movement, is all around community, sangha, association. That's the essence of our practice. We're not budget and undies where we just go off on our own and think we can become Krishna conscious.
Mm.
Like Prabhupada said, I could have came and just chanted Hare Krishna under a tree, but who would have come? That's why I've set up these temples. He said, I've set up these temples. Why? For the devotees to exchange the 6 loving relationships. Tadati, Pratignati, Bunte, what is it? Bunte, Daiva. Who knows that verse? What is Chaitanya?
Yes, Maharaj, I'm going.
It's what is it
For
called?
construction.
Upadeshamrita, verse number 4.
Yes, correct.
Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, verse 4. I think it's worth reading because Prabhupada does say so. Tadati pratigranati gugya akyati prichyati bhunte bhojate chaiva sadvitam pritilakshanam. This is very important. Let's see here. We get situated. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasadam, and offering prasadam, the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. And then Prabhupada mentioned, go down the page a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Go down the page a little.
Yes, Maharaj, I'm moving this.
Sorry,
I'm moving the page. Are you able to see?
can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
Go.
It's breaking, Maharaj, again. You got frozen again. The video. Hare Krishna.
No.
Maharaj, we are not able to hear. I think we lost again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yes, Maharaj. Are you able to see the screen, Maharaj? Can you stop your video, Maharaj, so that we can have nice audio? I'll stop your video. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. I think
Hare-
stopping your video makes your audio better.
Hare Krishna. Hare.
Yes.
Yes, I'll stop. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj. Now we can hear you.
Yes. Here, somewhere in this particular purport, Prabhupada writes. Okay. Okay, here it is. If you see where it says Sadhu Sakhyagataro Rite. Yeah. The next line down. Somebody read that line. The next line.
The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. This society was started single-handedly, but because people are coming forward and dealing with give and take policy, the society is now expanding all over the world.
Yeah, that's the point, has been established to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. So Prabhupada makes the point, this is the purpose of our society, is to develop loving relationships between devotees, focusing on our service to the Supreme Personality. If we don't take quality association, and especially when we get into a situation where we are struggling, the devotional service, which is quite simple, becomes impossible. We need association. We should associate with seniors, juniors, and equals in certain proportion. That's why the temples are here, to bring about that opportunity to associate. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Devotees, any more questions? I don't see any questions or comments, Maharaj. Here we have a comment by Rishabh Prabhu. He said, if Gadadhara Pandit would break his Kshetra Sannyasa, then people would think that followers of Gauranga would be neglecting their obligations. That is his comment for Sri Devi Mataji. Oh, good Maharaj. Maharaj has disconnected again. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know why. It's not, this internet has always been good in this place.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Okay, Maharaj, I don't see any questions. If you are okay, we can end the call here and we can. Yeah, thank you so much once again for the nice pastimes, Maharaj, and thank you, dear devotees, for joining. Maharaj, tomorrow's class is with ISKCON Harrisburg devotees, but the time is 8 a.m. Eastern time. Is it okay with you to join 8 a.m. Eastern time, or should I ask Mataji to change the time? I just want to confirm with you.
I don't know if she can do it. If she can do it, it would be better.
Okay, Maharaj, I'll ask Mataji, Mataji, and I'll inform you, Maharaj.
Yeah, if she can do it, it will be better.
Okay.
If she can't, I'll have to do it at 7 o'clock, but it's a little hard.
Yes, Maharaj.
Cuts into my sadhana.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj, I'll find out with Anasuya Mataji and I'll let you know. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Prabhupada ki
Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gadadhara Pandit ki jai, His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you.